who are successful at that height, and they are good quarterbacks. It's Drew Brees and Russell Wilson, but do you want to take the chance on that guy?
Right.
And I don't know, maybe the Jets should, but you're talking about taking a chance with your first round draft pick, and I'm not sure that the Jets will want to do that just because they obviously need to build something. But I think whoever gets Baker Mayfield is going to get a decent player, not like of the quality that Deshaun Watson turned out to be before he tore his ACL a few weeks ago, because he'd been outstanding and a lot of people doubted him and what he could do in the league. But I think that there could be something there with Baker Mayfield, and it wouldn't necessarily be a bad gamble for the Jets to see, because they're going to wind up picking somewhere around 10.
Yeah, well,
and I think that's going to be the segment of the draft where teams are going to have to start thinking, all right, can we get a guy who maybe has the ability of somebody who could have been picked in the top 5, but has these red flags or whatever term you want to use about him that cause him to drop a little bit, and should we take him here because we so desperately need a quarterback and somebody to build around, or should we just take whatever, an offensive lineman or a wide receiver or a linebacker or whatever, whoever the best player is available. So,
yeah, that's true. And I also think, though, if McCown had kept playing, maybe he even proves more that he should be around and make that decision a little more difficult. But we don't know that. We're going to take a break right now, brother. We're from the Press Box here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., talking sports on WHPC, also on the iHeartRadio app. Tim, you're on Twitter at
Real Tim Leonard.
All hit music.
For all those songs radio has forgotten about, join me, Big Ed, Mondays from 10 a.m. till noon for The Good Gold Show. We'll bring back all the great hits of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and more. The sounds of doo-wop to disco, all the Motown, soul, and great rock and roll. We'll even take your requests and dedications to The Good Gold Show.
Music.
On the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC, and streaming on the iHeartRadio app.
It's now easier to listen to the voice of Nassau Community College on your phone.
Stay connected to your favorite radio station anywhere you go on the iHeartRadio app.
Never miss shows like the Nassau Morning Madhouse, It's Saucy, or the Radio Rumble Again.
Streaming 24/7, 365. Listen to WHPC everywhere.
iHeartRadio is radio and unlimited music all in one app.
Listen live now in the iHeartRadio app and at iHeartRadio.com.
Just search for 90.3 WHPC.
Hey, I just got a ticket from one of those red light cameras.
Good news. My show, Law You Should Know, can help you fight that.
My brother just got arrested for shoplifting.
My show has info about that too.
My mom told me she's worried about whether she needs a will.
Law You Should Know can help her with that.
My cousin was hurt in a car accident. Can he sue?
Law You Should Know can help with that too.
My uncle has some legal questions, but he doesn't think he can afford a lawyer.
Tell him to be sure to listen to Law You Should Know every Wednesday at 3 p.m. or Sunday at 7 a.m. for lots of free info about the law right here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Back here on From the Press Box. I'm Rob Leonard. Joining me on the phone because of his severe injuries is Tim Leonard, award-winning sports runner.
I'm going to have to listen to What You Should Know on Wednesday.
You should. Good stuff there, Ken Landau.
See my rights as far as potential lawsuit here.
You might have one, brother.
Well, I didn't break anything, so
that doesn't matter.
That was my reason.
It's the muscle tissue issue that can hurt you,
Well, that is what's hurting me.
Well, take a hot shower later. Anyway, let's get to the Yankees. Boy, they sort of made sure that they're going to take care of the AL East next year, didn't they?
How about those Yankees?
Well, gets me. It's a great deal. I mean, but then some people are saying, well, that's why Jeter is part of the Marlins trade, the Marlins deal, because then he could trade all the good players to the Yankees, which is a total.
Yeah, you have to say it correctly, brother. You have to say, well, Susan.
Well, no. He wouldn't. He'd be. John Sterling's happy that.
Yes, I'm sure he is.
Deal.
But that's kind of the inside joke with Yankee fans.
Yes,
I mean,
Susan.
Look, anybody who's saying that Derek Jeter actually bought a baseball team so that he could feed players to the Yankees is both delusional and stupid. And unfortunately, I know a lot of Red Sox fans who are doing just that, but the Red Sox fans pretty much are delusional and stupid. Here's what people are missing on this trade. Giancarlo Stanton was the guy who had all of the leverage here. And the reason that Giancarlo Stanton is now a Yankee is because Giancarlo Stanton wanted to be. The Marlins had worked out trades with the San Francisco Giants and St. Louis Cardinals. And Giancarlo Stanton vetoed both of them, as was his contractual right. He had a no-trade clause in his contract, the monster deal that he signed a few years ago, and it was his right. He had a no-trade clause because he had seen the Marlins sign player after player and put a team together only to sell off the parts and start from scratch. And he didn't want to be that guy. He wanted to be the face of the franchise. He wanted to know he was going to be around. He didn't want to be the guy who signed a big deal and then wound up being dealt and sent somewhere else. So he got himself contractual protection, and the Marlins agreed to it. So there's nothing negative from that standpoint. That's something he negotiated. Now, the issue being that here the Marlins, they had agreements with two teams. Stanton said, no, I don't want to go play for either one of them. So now what are the Marlins left with? How many other teams in Major League Baseball can afford the 10 years and $295 million that Stanton is owed?
The Mets could.
The Mets could, but they won't. No, but they could, though. That's see, you laugh and you make it sound like it's hysterical. The Mets could.
I know they could.
Won't.
I know they could.
Won't.
That's the problem with the Mets. Everyone's saying, well, what are the Mets going to do right now? The Mets are going to do nothing because that's what they do best.
Exactly, and that's the problem with the Mets is that they don't operate as a big market franchise.
And that's
because of their own small market thinking.
And our friend Christy Acker wrote in today's Daily News that the Mets might be thinking of trading Matt Harvey. So,
but what are they going to get for him?
I don't know.
I mean, if you're trading Matt Harvey, you're trading Matt Harvey's reputation. You're not trading him based on performance because last year he was terrible. And if I'm a team anywhere in Major League Baseball, you know what you're going to get from Matt Harvey? You're going to get a mid-level prospect because nobody's going to give up a good prospect for a guy who's been injured as much as Matt Harvey and had as many surgeries as Matt Harvey's had in the last few seasons. Nobody's going to give away anything of value for him right now.
I'm sorry, brother.
Go ahead.
No. According to the Daily News and Christie, it says here the Mets might want a reliever for Matt Harvey. So
yeah, that's all you'll get for him,
right?
Yeah, I mean the Yankees could trade any one of several relievers for him. But I don't think the Yankees would want to bother taking a chance on Harvey like that.
Now, I remember 2 years ago, brother, when Matt Harvey was still maybe a pitcher you want on your team. You know, Tim Leonard was prepared already, was already making him a nice bed at Yankee Stadium so he could play and be comfortable. And
3 years ago, yeah. 3 years ago,
I
wanted the Dark Knight on my team. I wanted the Dark Knight. I don't want Matt Harvey. I want the Dark Knight.
Okay.
And then I don't know that the Dark Knight exists anymore.
I think you're right.
So that's the issue that we're dealing with as far as Matt Harvey goes. Is if he's just Matt Harvey, then his career in the major leagues isn't going to be very long. He might have another 3 or 4 years left because he's still a relatively young guy. But unless he can become the Dark Knight again, he's just going to be a guy. He's going to be an arm. He's going to go from one team to another. And there's always going to be the promise, and we think Matt's going to be able to get back to where he was and be that dominant starter and a true ace and et cetera, et cetera. Except if the physical ability is no longer there, then again he's just going to be a guy. He's not going to be he's not going to be the Dark Knight. He's not going to be someone special and someone who you can build a contending team around. Because instead of being a number one starter, Matt Harvey at this point in his career is at best a number 4 starter. And that's at best. Met fans saw him last year. And granted, he was coming back from thoracic outlet syndrome surgery, and he's had Tommy John surgery. I mean, he's had a lot of major surgeries on his throwing arm. Guys don't necessarily come back from those.
Right.
So we're still waiting to see what's going on with him.
By the way, the Yankees are going to have a very crowded outfield, my brother.
Oh, it's jam packed. Right now, the Yankees have 6 outfielders, and I'm still personally. I look at it, and I have to say to Giancarlo Stanton, hey, can you play left field? Because that's the issue with this trade right now, is that you have 2 very good right fielders in Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. Well, the Yankees have right now Brett Gardner in left, but if one of those 2 can play left field, and I think it probably would wind up being Stanton, do you have an outfield that's Stanton in left, Hicks in center, and Judge in right? To me, as it stands right now, that's the Yankees' best outfield.
Right.
Now, the problem with that is it completely blocks Clint Frazier, who showed last year that he's pretty much ready for the big leagues. You could stash him in the minor leagues for a year. It's not necessarily going to help his development, but if you want to hang on to this kid and say, all right, well, we want you to be our guy, then, see what he can do and see if he can turn into the special kind of player that you thought you were getting when you traded for him last year or 2016 when they sent I'm blanking on his name, Andrew Miller to the Indians. If he could play center and you have Stanton and Judge in the corners, that's a tremendous outfield. But you still have the elephant in the room is Jacoby Ellsbury, who still has something like 3 years and $68 million left on just a completely odious contract that will be remembered as Brian Cashman's worst move in the last several years.
Maybe they could trade him around or try to trade him around and see
well, I think Frazier might wind up being some kind of a trade chip to get a starting pitcher. He's still regarded, obviously, as a very good prospect. He's a young kid. He's got a really good bat, and like I said, he showed himself last year that he's ready for the major leagues. So what kind of starting pitcher could they get back for him if they decided to make him available?
Right.
Brett Gardner's got a year left on his deal. Aaron Hicks, I still think. I mean, he showed himself last year to be better than what the Yankees thought they were getting from the Twins. But like I said, the real elephant in the room here is Ellsbury, because you have a very high paid, at this point, you have a very high paid 5th outfielder in him.
Right.
He's not in the mix.
Well, I don't blame you for
there's still 3 years left on his contract.
Yeah, I agree with that. Also, you got CC Sabathia. He's more than willing to come back. The range they're talking about is 10 to 12 million, which would be good for him. Less pressure on him.
The Yankees are listening to me, brother.
I know. I
said that on the show probably 3 months ago.
Yeah, so it looks like there's a chance that he might stay around, which is something I wouldn't have thought about at the beginning of 2017. But he's been a good clubhouse guy. There's a presence with him, veteran. People seem to listen to him. So maybe you don't need a pitcher if you keep CC.
Well, I don't necessarily think that they need to do a lot with the pitching, and I don't think there actually is a lot of room to do a lot. But I think signing or re-signing CC just to a 1-year deal, I think it would be a good move just, to see, because they have so many pitching prospects in the minor leagues. And, guys like Chance Adams and Justice Sheffield and, that's just 2. And there's probably at least a half a dozen more. Why not have CC be the guy to be a mentor for them while they're coming through and in spring training and be that guy who is the voice to kind of just